to the womOwned podcast. I'm Alaina.
I'm Janelle.
This is where we have uncensored discussions about everything from sex and relationships to politics and feminism.
The art of balancing being mothers, business owners, and having a social life.
Being the change we want to see and working to create a world we can all succeed in.
We have shit to say, and you're going to want to hear it.
Today's episode, we are talking about if it's possible to have it all. To me, what that means is striving for a healthy work-life balance and financial freedom that we all desire, and the mom guilt that sometimes gets in the way. And when am I supposed to find time for myself? Is that how you perceive having it all?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's having a successful career, having adequate quality time with family and friends, and also having time to take care of myself. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely in terms of like finding time for yourself, that definitely includes personal life and socializing and whatever you need to fill your cup.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe let's start in a way that we didn't plan.
Okay.
I know, right? Just like throw a wrench in it right from the beginning.
Okay, spontaneous.
Yeah. I thought we could throw in there a little conversation about us choosing what to wear today. Because we were having so much trouble figuring out what was business versus not.
We forgot to say why Pam isn't here.
We're so...
I'm sorry, guys. Great. Like, we will get it together, but this is episode 2, so you guys can all relax. So, as you have likely noticed, Pam is not here today. She's dealing with a ruptured eardrum, which really is fucking terrible. And we wish her well, and she will hopefully be back next time we record.
But we all agree that the show must go on, and so we're here for you. Yeah, and actually I think that's a really important part. When we sat down and we were initially talking, I mean, like, we've known each other for a long time. We've all had really exciting things that kept us busy and really awful things that kept us busy, have had those happen in our lives. And so when we were deciding to do this, we talked about, like, well, what do we do if we book something and then one of us can't make it, like, last minute type thing, or emergencies arise. And we just decided if we always waited for everyone to be available, we probably would never do anything. Yeah. So we decided that on the odd chance that, or the odd time that one person can't make it, then we will continue, 2 out of 3 ain't bad type thing. Yeah. And hopefully be able to make it all together more often than not. So exactly.
So that's that. And then what were you saying? Oh, choosing an outfit.
Yeah. So we were talking about choosing outfits, and we were discussing if we wanted to, like, keep it, like, professional, especially with this being
casual,
or if we wanted to go more casual or more sexy or what, because this episode is about work-life balance, and should we be presenting ourselves deliberately in a professional fashion? And then I brought up the fact that, like, what is professional?
And especially for us and our businesses.
And, like, what is professional wear for women? And, that we don't have to dress demure in order to be professional.
Yeah. And also to stay, like, authentic to
who we actually are. We don't want to be presenting ourselves as something we feel like society wants us to be. That's never been us, so why would it be us here?
But we did decide that we would always be matching.
Because I feel like that's fun.
Yeah, it is. So,
but, like, we also make no promises, so. Because, like, who knows what fun that's for looks like.
We'll try. So I guess I wouldn't say this is not businessy, but it's definitely, like, sexy.
It's business formal? Like a business networking gala? I don't know.
Maybe not a gala.
Not quite a gala. That would be a little more formal.
A little more formal. But yeah. And then this is, I don't know, it's one of the only things I had that wasn't black.
So
having it on.
Yes.
Eckhart Tolle speaks of living in the now, and I think it's important ethos for all of us to remember to day to day. As we strive for our large goals, like a big house, boat, vacation house, big changes in the world, it's important to not get lost and miss out on today. And I think that's a big part of having it all, or, having it all of what you actually need, is just being present in what today is. Today is recording this podcast. Today is spending time with family and friends. And that's how you find that balance the best way that is possible, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you have to focus on what you have right then and take the time to schedule that time in so that you can focus. If you're not scheduling, if you're not creating a framework for your life, especially as someone who's self-employed, it's really easy for everything to overlap, and then so you're never fully present for one thing. Like, you're letting your personal life distract your work, or you're letting work come into your personal life, and your home life is intruding on your day out with your friends or at the spa or whatever. So I think it's really healthy to maintain those boundaries, and then you're also more efficient that way.
Yeah, deliberate focused time. Deliberate focused time that is for work. Deliberate focused time for your friends or family or the people who you are actively present with. And I see that's the closest I've felt to having the life I want, is when I deliberately focus on what I should be focused on in that moment.
And I think especially for women, it's really easy to default to either a work mode or default to a family mode. And the thing that always gets pushed to the side is, ourselves, doing things that we enjoy, that pleases us, that is healthy for us, that's good for us. And I don't know if it's not possible. I personally believe that it's not possible to have it all without relying on support from like a strong network. Or paid support. So whether you're paying someone to look after your child, or paying someone to clean your house or cook meals or do errands.
We can't be Superwoman who pauses time, unfortunately.
No. And no one expects that of men. No one expects men to do
be the executive and take care of the kids and make sure the house is clean and dinner's ready at 5.
Yeah, exactly. But if women don't do that, or we opt out of it, then there's a sense of failure there.
Yeah.
Or, like you've talked about, the guilt.
The mom guilt, especially. Guilt in general, but especially mom guilt. That, like, I'm not there enough with my child, or I'm not doing enough for my child, or I'm not volunteering at the school enough, or I'm not... Like, I forgot the bake sale to the day before again. And those things, and I feel like the bake sale thing is just such a trope but it's real.
It's really painful. No, it really is.
And
it cuts to the core of you, and I'm like, I
love baking.
Yeah, baking is fun.
That's not the problem.
No, but it's like
finding the time for it and the energy for it at the end of like, oh right, I work till 9 p.m. today. The bake sale, everything has to be dropped off at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
And now I have to start at 10.
And oh shit, do I even
dinner.
have ingredients?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. And especially as a single mom, like you don't have someone stepping in, or you can't like text
and as a perfectionist
when you're
going like, well, like I know I could just go buy some cookies, but I will not. Like I have to make those cookies from scratch, or I have to do this from scratch, and I'm gonna feel guilty
is that
if
for
I
you? Or is that because of how other parents will perceive?
It's totally for me, because no one even knows who brings what things.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, that's totally like internal and
Yeah, and who put that there?
I don't even know. Probably my grandma.
Well, okay, but so there's something different because your family literally owns a bake shop.
Yeah, but that's not even the side that I think I get that from.
No, I know, but but I'm saying like baking is in your family, so maybe there's even more pressure.
Yeah, well, and like my grandma on the Italian side, she's like very into baking and cooking, and I was raised making pies, and I love making pies, and I love doing those things from scratch. So to me, it's like I don't want to just grab a box and
you're cheapening out the experience. For yourself.
Yeah. Like if I'm gonna bake, I want to enjoy the whole experience from like making my own pie crust up.
I hear you. I'm trying to think.
That's not the reality.
I'm trying to think of something that like. I can't really think of something similar that, like, normally I would want to do this thing, but I find that I don't have the time to put into it the way, like in terms of child rearing anyway, or in terms of, it's coming, right? Yeah.
And, like, there's those added pressures once you start having those, like, peer parents and, you know, like, when your kid's in school and stuff, and seeing, like, how is this person a nurse who cans tomatoes and, you know, has, you know, takes the kids to all the activities, and I'm like, I can't get her on time to dance once a week. And I don't can tomatoes, and I do nails. Yeah. Which is, again, just like a total internalized pressure I put on myself.
But I think, again, that's priorities, because there are a lot of things that you do that this other mom is not doing. You run a sex education thing. You are super invested in your own education and learning. Like, you take workshops, you read a lot, and you're involved in a lot of different communities and stuff. And so that's your priority. Right? Yeah. Like, it's not having canned tomatoes. Which, like, canned tomatoes are awesome.
It's awesome. It's not even it's not about calling that down or other. It's just like, it's
it's about priorities. Yeah. And I think that's, again, to bring it back to the topic at hand. Yeah. It's about prioritizing what having it all means to you.
And, like, I can't be the PTA mom who bakes everything and has a full-time self-employed job. And
also does all the other things that you want to do.
Yeah, and also gets to enjoy my life.
Yeah.
So another side to the work-life balance and having it all is the reality of that not everyone gets to have it all ever. Yeah.
It's not possible for everybody.
That's the sad reality of the capitalist world we live in. Not everyone's getting that boat, no matter how hard they work. And the big thing is making sure that not getting those huge goals doesn't translate to unhappiness, because it doesn't have to. Yeah. Because you can still enjoy what you can achieve and you do have. And sometimes we get too focused on those big goals of things we aren't, we haven't achieved yet, and that steals our happiness from now.
And what our life should look like.
Yeah,
and what our life
should
be. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my clients told me their therapist had told them, stop shoulding all over yourself, and I just love that so much.
That's good.
Because it's really important. Stop shoulding.
Yeah. And I think especially with the rise of social media and also I think the collapse of the traditional career kind of path, there's a lot of pressure on people to find what you're passionate about and make a life for yourself and start your own business, and obviously we're self-entrepreneurs, so we've drunk the Kool-Aid quite a bit.
But it's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone, and it's not bad. And it's not if you're not about that life, like if you're not super passionate about it, it's not wrong and you're not lesser
to go work for someone else.
You're not doing something less valuable. You're not contributing less to society because you're working a more traditional kind of job, or have more traditional kind of employment.
Yeah.
And so I think that's another thing that's different to talk about in terms of having it all, because if you're more traditionally employed, you have less flexibility with your hours. You have less kind of control over things. But then again, there are some things that might be a little bit easier about it.
Yeah, like benefits, or having a steady paycheck. Those are things that I don't benefit from.
Yeah.
6 days are a thing that just means I don't make money. And it's risk assessing and what's worth it to you.
Yeah.
And if you really value, finishing work at 4:00 and being done at 4:00, self-employment's not for you.
No, it's not.
At least not the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Probably not after that either.
Yeah. So this is kind of funny that we're having this conversation today, because today is our last day with our sitter for Jude. She's been watching him for 4 hours a day for the past 3 months on weekdays, so that Nico and I can get some work done. And so we're both not quite done, and Nico's convention season is ramping up. So, we've kind of been panicking about where the hell does the time that where does our work time come from? And we've had conversations before where his work time can't come from my work time, and vice versa. So, we're lucky enough that we have family that can pitch in and help every once in a while. And then we're also fortunate enough that I can work part-time. I don't have to work full-time. So I'm going to be taking a step back so that Nico can finish his kind of full-time hours.
For the next few months.
Yeah. But again, that's from a place of privilege, and if we didn't have the income that we have, and if we didn't have kind of the circumstances and the support and all that kind of stuff, there's no way that we would be able to make it work. Another thing too is the reason why we had a sitter is because we got pregnant by accident, and in this fucking province, or I don't know, I think it's actually Canada-wide, you basically have to register for daycare before you're going to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Because there's just not enough spaces. Yeah. So Jude's been on the list forever, and we finally got a placement for him, but it's not until November. So again, we were fortunate enough that we could pay to have an individual sitter come and watch him part-time during the week.
But it's hard to find that balance, and some people it's okay, I can afford that, but am I going to make enough to make it even worthwhile?
Yeah, exactly. And so that's a lot of why mothers end up just staying until their kids can get into daycare or are going to school, because because we're women, because we make less money, often our incomes are not the ones that are we're not the breadwinners in the household, so it makes sense for the person who's earning less income to stay home. Yeah, which is bullshit. And so we're really just getting fucked from every which way.
Because that also pushes us to make less money.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in careers where you took off a year. Mm-hmm. Well, yearly you get a raise, but that year you don't get a raise because you didn't work.
And actually, I was even talking to my mom the other day, and she said, when she was, so she was an educator. She was a teacher for several years. Well, I mean, she was in education for 35 years, but she was a principal for some of it. But when she took time off to take care of my brother and I, and to have us, she lost out on not only the earnings of those years, but also the contributions towards the pension. So I think there was an option to buy back those contributions after retirement. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but still,
there was further repercussions.
There were like you could buy it back, but there was still going to be a penalty. And for people who can't buy it back, you're just SOL. Like you missed out on all those earning years and all the extra payments you could have made.
With 2 kids, 2 years of raise increases. Which, maybe you were making less money than your partner, but would those 2 raise increments have put you in a position where you're making more or the same as your partner?
Yeah,
potentially,
but are we going to get there?
Yeah.
So,
and also, like, there's the reality of, like, from the business owner perspective of, like, well, why am I giving someone a raise who's not working? Which I get too. And it's figuring out what that healthily can look like for everyone.
Which for me, that's why I think minimum income is a really fantastic idea, because I don't think that you should have to work to live. I don't think that's where our value is as human beings. And I think that whether you can't work because of health issues or disability, or whether it's temporary or chronic pain, or something that's lifelong that you're battling, or if you're raising children or just temporarily out of a job, whatever. Like, I don't think that you need to be contributing to
society at all.
Well, I think that people contribute to society in different ways. I don't think you need to be productive in the capitalist sense in order to fucking live. Like,
I think it's important for there to be access to jobs that don't require the same level of reliability. That's a whole other conversation. Yeah, but we're getting a little bit off topic of the work-life balance here and having it all, but I think that for everyone to be able to have it all, or just have an okay life, it's important to give people who have more struggles access to employment or functionality that works within their parameters, and I think it's possible. It just requires more imagination
and more support at a
government level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, have you experienced mom guilt yourself yet, or what ways have you felt like you've experienced mom guilt?
I've tried really, really hard to not feel guilt when it comes to what I'm capable of, or just how parenting has ended up being for us. One really early thing was not being able to breastfeed as long as I wanted to. Jude had a really severe tongue and lip tie, and so he couldn't latch, and he was basically starving, and it was super stressful. And I really wanted to breastfeed, and I really wanted, all the health benefits that come from it for him, and it just was not happening. And so it was an extremely stressful, the first 2 weeks of his life were extremely stressful, and he kept losing weight, and I just eventually said, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore. And so Nico went and got a breast pump machine. And I pumped for about 2 months, and he finally started gaining weight and was a very happy, not hungry all the time little guy. And then we found out that he had a dairy allergy, or a cow's milk protein allergy. So, the doctor was like, okay, well, I'm going to give you a list of dietary restrictions that you need to follow so that so he's not allergic to your breast milk. And I tried it for 2 days, and when I found out that I couldn't eat Oreos because there was dairy and soy in it, that was kind of it wasn't that I love Oreos that much, but it was kind of the last straw. I was just like, what the fuck? No, this is too much. I cannot have anything. Are you kidding me? And it was already so stressful, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this. So we just decided to switch to formula, and yeah, so that was another thing. Like, not only could I not breastfeed, but I couldn't even feed in my breast milk. And, you know, like I wasn't willing to try hard enough to alter my entire diet. And there are women who will do it. They'll do absolutely everything that they can. And I could not. And there were definitely moments where I felt guilt, but
you're feeding your child.
I'm feeding my child, and I don't want to contribute to that.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, I don't want to contribute to a narrative that says that women have to sacrifice literally everything in their lives in order to be a good mother, in order to be a good partner, in order to be a good member of society or whatever. I don't want
to be good enough.
Yeah, like, there's just, like, we're just living, like, we're just humans. I don't want anyone to feel like shit because their house is a disaster or their car has like, you know, several bags of takeout in it, or if you can't cloth diaper. Oh, definitely both. And everyone else who has a hard time saying no to McDonald's. Yeah. I don't want it for myself. I don't want it for the people I love. I don't want it for anybody. Like, life is really fucking hard, and I think that we have the capacity to make it less hard on ourselves. We can be less hard on ourselves, we can be less hard on others, and we can change what the standards are for being good, you know?
Yeah.
And being a parent already takes everything out of you, even if you have a very easy child who sleeps through the night and giggles away, yeah, and like doesn't have colic, and you know, like it's just, it takes a lot. Being a business owner takes a lot. Being dedicated to your job takes a lot. Being a partner takes a lot. If you're in a good relationship or if you're in a shitty relationship,
it takes even
like
more.
It takes even more. But like we're always trying, and I just want us to be able to be a little bit more and less so
actively.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just take a fucking break every now and then. I'm swearing a lot right now.
I'm sorry. The biggest thing I personally have mom guilt around is finding time for deliberate time, especially now that Giselle's a little bit older. Being 12, entering teen years, she wants to hang out with her friends, and that's awesome. And I want to support that, especially because, I mean, myself, I didn't have a lot of good friends at that age, and I'm so glad that she does. And also, you know, building myself to where I am in terms of business, and then in my own personal communities, and volunteering for the polyamorous Winnipeg community, and finding time for all those things means I have to be very deliberate with my time. And I'm finding right now with her, it's really hard because she's like, you don't spend time with me. Every time I have days off, you're with your friends. And I'm like, well, when I have days off and I am with you, you're either on your phone or in your bedroom or making, you know, oh, you're home. Can you drive me to my friend's house?
Yeah.
And then it's like, she's upset with me for wanting to see my friends.
Yeah.
But she doesn't see that imbalance, which I understand. And it's like, part of me wants to be like, no, I'm putting my foot down, this is how this is, and like, you know, we're going to spend this time together deliberately, and then you're not going to complain about it when I want to see my friends, and that's not how it works, but I wish it did. And then part of me is like, well, maybe I need at this moment in time so that I can build and foster that closeness that's so important, especially through teen years.
Yeah.
Essentially let her guide.
Yeah.
But also, I'm like, do I want my teenager to be the one who's taking the lead?
And basically dictating your time.
Yeah. But also I want her to feel wanted.
Yeah.
So the only way I'm seeing right now to make her feel, or help her feel wanted, is if she wants to spend time with me, do my best to be available.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't, let her not. And that's the time that I make time for my friends or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel a lot of guilt when she's telling me that she doesn't get to see me enough, or doesn't like get enough of my attention.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe I perceive our time differently than she does, and I hope and I try to, but no mom's perfect.
No.
But that's the biggest thing I'm struggling with right now in terms of that parenting guilt.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah.
I mean, at least she wants to spend time with you.
That is a good thing.
That's a good indicator.
Yeah.
So
it's not a bad thing.
But it's still a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, not letting that take over my life either, and still allowing myself my personal time to see my friends and not feel guilty for doing that.
So is it mostly something that comes up like last minute, like day of, or is some of it planned in advance? Or?
Some of it's planned in advance as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of regardless.
Yeah.
If I make plans first,
yeah,
it's like I'm neglecting her. It's like how it ends up feeling.
Yeah. Then that could also just be the perspective from a child.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're always jealous of anybody who's in your parents' life who's taking your attention away. Yeah. There might not be a solution to that.
And especially being like the single mom, who is the large majority of her consistent affection and attention.
Yeah.
So she's not really getting it elsewhere.
Yeah.
At all. So she
not in the
seeks
same
all
capacity that
of
you give it
her,
to.
So she seeks all of her reassurance and all of her, weight on who she is and where she stands and her importance from me.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't get a sense of importance from much elsewhere.
Yeah. That's exhausting.
And that's why I need my me time even more.
Absolutely. I'm gonna take a quick second and ask our lovely viewers if they have any suggestions for how they balance that kind of stuff. If we have any parents of
that's a great idea.
Preteens, teenagers who are kind of struggling with that same thing, finding the balance between valuing your teenager and allowing them independence, but also teaching them that your time has value, blah, blah, blah. If you want to drop us a note.
Yeah, drop a comment.
Similarly, I guess I don't feel guilty about it, but I really resent, especially with the summer, because summer is my favorite time of the year. But like knowing that our sitter was taking Jude out and they got to play like every morning for like 4 hours, like going to the water park and playing in the park and like seeing all the other mom friends and stuff. Like I really resented it. Like I love my work, but I resented that I had to be working while this stuff was happening. And I didn't get to spend that kind of time with him. And it's kind of funny because there have been a few times where we went to the park after, like on our way to get groceries or whatever, and there would be a couple moms and they're like, oh, you're Jude's parents. Oh, we see him every day with the sitter, and they know him. And I'm just like, fuck, that sucks. Yeah. Like, it really sucks. And so, at the end of the day, the having it all is like, you can't have it all at one time. Yeah. Like, it's always going to be in chunks, and you're always going to be sacrificing one thing for the other thing. Yeah. And that's just it. Yeah. Like, you can't have everything all the time. Yeah. Which, as the oldest child, I'm not used to that. I'm not used to not getting everything I want. But I'm kidding. But it just really,
It's a balancing act.
It is a balancing act. And the other thing too is the other thing that I'm thinking of that I was thinking of is, of course, our sitter has her own children, and
she's not spending
time with her children, and her husband and her in-laws, I think, were taking turns, and her children are older, so they don't need the same kind of attention that a 15-month-old does. But that's still time with your children, and so a lot of time our success is built off the backs of other women, whether that's your partner or again a housekeeper or childcare. A lot of our success is due to other women kind of doing the dirty work for us. Not the dirty work, but doing the
stepping up stepping up themselves to lift you up.
And so that was also something that was, again, I didn't feel it wasn't guilt, but it was uncomfortable. It was an uncomfortable feeling to know that this woman wasn't able to spend time with her child because, and it's just like, wouldn't it be nice if we just didn't have to
worry about that? You know, someone has to take care of the children.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like in theory, going back to tribal setup and where it's just, you know, the elders generally take care of the children and the younger people work to provide food and necessities. But, you know, also, do I want to live with my parents? No. Love them. Yeah. Do I want to live with them? Not at all.
We had a really good run when we lived with my parents. It was good. Yeah.
But it's good till it's not. And
it's good until it's not.
It's good to have that separation too. Yeah. And I feel like, I guess if I needed to, I could live with my parents again. But I have so much better of a relationship with them not living with them. And having that deliberate active time with them versus that expected time and the expectations and and everything that comes along with that.
So you were talking about going back to the village, and it takes a village, which it really does. So let's talk about how expectations of parenting have changed. They've gotten super, super duper extreme at the same time that our communities and our support networks have greatly diminished.
Yeah.
So more and more is expected from mothers all the time, and we have less and less people to help us get everything done. If we're, I've read so many studies that say that mothers and parents in general spend more time with their children now than they ever have at any other period in history.
Which is ironic considering we are generally working more.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and we're all working more.
Yeah, because working out of the house more, I should say.
Yeah, well, and a certain, and actually, I guess, for middle class and up, women are working more, whereas working there's a certain section of women that have always had to work, and they didn't have the luxury of staying home to raise their children. But in general, we're spending more time with our children. We have to work more, and so we have less people stepping in. We live farther away from each other. We don't know our neighbors. We're all so busy with just life and work that we're not stepping in to pitch in and to help with the people that we love and we wish we could, but we're all too busy making sure our own fucking oxygen masks are on.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to be there for people the way that people used to.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't be the only one trying to be there for everyone else.
Yeah, because then you get burnt out.
Burnout. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, along that train, overwhelm.
Oh! Are you overwhelmed by any of this at all?
Never.
Never.
I never get overwhelmed by having to parent and run 3 businesses and see friends and have multiple partners and family expectations and
that's That's not.
And, a child with migraines. And missing a whole month of school. And fortunately working from home.
Yeah, double-edged sword there. Eh?
Yeah, because, I didn't have to miss work. But I had to parent 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
For a month.
While working
and while having a child who was extra needy because she was genuinely ill.
Yeah.
So, fortunate that I was at home, but hard.
Yeah.
And it's also, there's that, mom guilt again of, I should feel more empathy for her pain than my own difficulty with the circumstance.
Yeah.
But it's not one or the other.
No.
I do feel empathy for her pain, and, I wish that there was a way that I could have just taken that away from her.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, and I also, suffered consequences due to that, and not having a break, and she wasn't going to other caregivers' homes because of that, and it got really, really hard being that on 24 hours a day.
I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
And I have to be on for my job and social.
And yes, your job especially.
Yeah, it's so social.
It's very intense.
And I love it. That's one of the things I love the most about it, but that doesn't mean it's not draining, especially at the end of it, I'm being social all day, and then I'm also taking breaks to make sure she has water, she has, some kind of food in her system, even if she's, migrating and not super hungry, and, okay, have you taken pills lately, and then back to work, and then she's in the kitchen and going, how do I use the toaster oven for the 60th time? Trying to be empathetic of I know she's needs me extra right now, but also being but I'm working.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, what am I making for dinner? And there's 6 loads of laundry to do. But that's not overwhelming. I have to make jokes about it or else I'll just cry. And it's, there's times that are better and easier, and honestly right now I feel like that's one of those times, and that's lovely. But
it's going to happen again.
Yeah. There will be a time again when I have to wash lice out of my child's hair and everything in the house.
Yeah.
And don't, almost have to cancel my birthday, and
that really sucked.
That did suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
missing out on my bestie being at my birthday because I thought I had to cancel my birthday.
That also really sucked.
I'm
very sorry about that.
You don't have to be sorry. It was just shitty circumstances.
It was very shitty.
Yeah.
We'll make it up.
Yes.
We'll have an extra birthday.
Absolutely.
Okay. So having dealt with depression for probably definitely most of my adult life, or all of my adult life, possibly when I was a teenager. It's hard to tell if I was depressed or just a teenager. So I've always been very aware of my shortcomings and my limited capacity for things, which is why, which is part of why I chose the business that I did and why I structured my business the way that I do, because I cannot be on every day. I cannot be on all day. There are weeks that I cannot be on, and I really I'm the kind of person that ends up using all of my vacation days because I'm sick or because I just cannot get out of bed in the morning. And that has been absenteeism was always the biggest issue every time I worked somewhere else. And so the nature of my work means that I don't do short-term projects because I need long turnaround times to make sure that, you know, like if I can not work, or like if shit happens, life blows up one day, at least probably tomorrow I can get to it. Or at least within a week. There's gotta be one good day, hopefully, where I can do stuff. And with Nico too, like we had a long time of both working from home and you know, kind of getting used to the ebbs and flows of our businesses and things. And so when we had Jude, it wasn't nearly as difficult as it could have been to fit having the baby in with our work. Nico did take a huge, like, he was definitely the primary parent, so he felt it more than I did. It impacted him more than it did for me. But I'm just so I'm so focused on trying to make sure that my business works for who I am and how my family is and how my brain operates and all that kind of stuff, because I want to be successful, but I can't be successful in a traditional work life. I can't be successful
because it's not successful if it's to your own detriment.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and if
your business is successful, you're not successful if you are suffering because of it.
Yeah. Well, and in terms of reliability, you can't be successful if people don't perceive you as reliable.
Yeah.
And so with my regular job, or before I learned to give myself a little bit more breathing room, and I was trying to hit like every ridiculous
target goal
timeline, and I was just saying yes to everything, I was just fucking up all over the place, and I was just disappointing people all the time because I wanted to say yes. I wanted to be better. Like, I wanted to believe that everything would be perfect and that I would rise to the occasion, all that kind of stuff. And it just never happened. It didn't happen enough to counteract how often it did happen.
Yeah.
And so I've, that's been a really big...
And then you're disappointing yourself, which feels even worse.
Yeah. I'm disappointing my clients, I'm disappointing myself, and it really, really sucks. But yeah, again, like you said before, not everyone is in the position to create that for themselves. And
so we've all come to that place where there's more things to do than there is time in a day. And you know, I think the biggest thing within the work-life balance and having it all is finding priorities and looking at what you have to do and figuring out what is the most important, which sometimes is almost the hardest job for me personally. Making those small decisions of, but they're all important is often what I find myself doing. And I can sometimes push through it, and sometimes I'll just ask a friend, because there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, I have to do these 6 things and I just can't.
Like, where do I start?
I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And I've found reaching out to just have someone else pick. Sometimes, even if I'm like, actually, that's not the order I'm going to do this in, sometimes just having someone else tell me that's the order to do it in helps me compartmentalize it in my brain and be able to figure out what the priority is.
So how do you keep track of that stuff? Do you have like a paper calendar, or do you put it all on your phone, or tasks?
My day-to-day calendar is in my phone. I just use iCal, the Apple Calendar. And then my tasks are all in a paper journal, and that's how I've been doing it lately, and I really like it. I check off things that I finish. I add the things that I didn't onto the next day.
Yeah.
And that's how I have found best to figure out what needs to be done, and then from there...
And to remember
what needs to be done, and be able to come back to it and flip back and make sure that things were done. And... and then reach out if I need to, if I'm really struggling with, like, I don't know where to start. Because that's the thing that I personally struggle with, is, like, where to start. So,
Are there any strategies that you've employed, or any kind of major or minor changes that you've, like, structural changes, or that you've done to your business or to your home life, or like regularly calling someone else in or anything like that in order to kind of make it all fit better?
In the last few months, I've made a couple changes. So the biggest one is I started waking up earlier, which for anyone who's known me for any extended period of time is not me.
It's
impressed.
Never been me. Like, I'm so impressed with you. Seriously.
I have started waking up almost 2 hours earlier. Like a full hour to an hour and a half earlier than I used to.
Well done.
And I've now stuck with it for a couple months, and it feels really good, which I would not have believed. If someone told me 3 months ago that you were going to say you like mornings and like having less sleep, I would have been like, no. Like, that 20 minutes of extra sleep is worth it.
Yeah.
But I started a specific journal that helps me focus my mornings and makes me want to wake up that little bit earlier. And doing that, the thing that I do in the mornings is actually not like a quote-unquote productive thing, but it's the thing that makes me feel good, and it makes me more productive for the whole rest of the day.
It sets you up.
Yeah. So I choose to read. I've been meditating. I've been a little inconsistent with that lately, but I got to get back at it because I know how much it helps me and helps me focus. And the other thing is I've started doing a little bit better of a job of delegating and actually giving jobs to someone else and paying them or whatever, so that I can focus my energy where it's more needed. Things that don't need my attention as much can get someone else's attention.
Yeah.
And sometimes giving up that control is really hard, but
so when you're a perfectionist.
Still healthy.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's especially healthy when you're a perfectionist to just loosen the fuck up.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I have I mean, I've been trying to basically adapt and make my life work for me for a really long time, and I can't think of anything that I've been sourcing out or that I've been doing like much differently. I just make sure that I don't take on short deadline projects because I know I can't do them consistently. I have Nico is incredibly supportive. He does all of the cooking. I literally have not cooked since December of 2012. I do some cleaning, and I mostly work and step in with the babe when he needs to work, and I've mostly found that like I have to delegate within my business. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that that in the past I would have been like, sure, like I'll try to do that, and at this point I'm sick of doing things that I'm not good at. So I'm trying to build up a network of other vendors and contractors that I can refer out to.
Focus on your
exactly.
Working with focused intention.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And making sure that I'm not. The other thing too is if I have too much to do during one day, that's really overwhelming for me. So I found, and actually even over the course of a week, I've been finding it's much better to just have like 1 or 2 projects that I'm working on over the course of a week and just power through, rather than trying to get a little bit done every day. Yeah. I'm definitely like a day planner kind of gal, a written one. I've started getting better at using Google Calendar, and we're trying to use it as a family, especially since with Nico we have lots of travel and stuff. So kind of using a combination of Google Calendar and a written
journal.
Yeah. But it's always a work in progress.
Yeah. At different points in your life, different things are going to require more priority. sometimes 1 month you're going to have to put all your time and energy into your friends. Sometimes it's going to be family, a sick parent, whatever the case may be. And then other times it's going to be your business. I think it's just most important to figure out in the here and now what is most important. What is most important to prioritize right now?
Yeah.
So we ask you, what do you do to help prioritize yourself, especially because I feel like that's the biggest thing that ends up falling wayside.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about it.
And how do you deal with that? And, do you feel like you prioritize yourself enough? How do you find your list of what is most important?
Yeah, from day to day.
Is it your job? Is it your child? Is it your parents? Is it your friends or your partners? And do you have any specific coping mechanisms for this or tips and tricks for anyone else? Please comment. We would love to hear what you do. So there will be links in our show notes to everything we have cited here, complete with a transcript with all of our content. We would love to hear from you. If you have any questions or anything, please email us at info@womOwned.com, WOMOWNED.com, to tell us what you thought and what brought you here and how you think that our podcast should or is going to help you. Thank you for listening to womOwned. We've got shit to say and you're going to want to hear more. Please follow our Facebook and Instagram, subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, just search womOwned, so you can stay up to date and be a part of the community we are building. Please go to our website, womOwned.com, to subscribe to our newsletter. Love us or hate us, please let us know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Or give us a thumbs up. We appreciate your input. Thank you. Oh, and hugs and love to Pamela at home since you couldn't be here. And goodbye, and we love you. And I am wearing a Foxy Shoppe dress.
When this airs, it'll be Pam's birthday.
It'll be her birthday. So happy birthday, Pamela. And by proxy, I am wearing a Foxy Shoppe dress.
And we did have champagne, actually, for this episode, but we're going to save it for next time. When we can all be together.
Yeah, we can cheers.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you.